Greece is ready to ask for a loan extension, but still insists on no austerity. Germany has reiterated its warning that no money will be released without acceptance of its bailout terms. Well, let's take a look at what Athens is seeking. It's asked for financial help for its banks, along with a €1.9 billion loan. Greece also wants more short-term loans to keep the country afloat. Its creditors have slammed those ideas, pushing instead for a bailout extension that would include more austerity measures. At one point, the sides appeared to have reached an agreement, but the EU pulled out at the last minute. They now blame each other for the failed negotiations.
The fact that this provocative document was up for discussion at the Eurogroup, although the one we had previously agreed upon in principle was withdrawn, proves that specific circles within the Eurozone want to undermine the new Greek government. However, it's not the Greek government or Greece that they are playing with, but with Europe and its future.
So far, we haven't really understood if Yanis Varoufakis and the government that he represents here as finance minister are taking the best decisions and showing the best behaviour for the Greek people.
Though the German finance minister blames Greece for the failed talks, it appears that it's Berlin that's putting a spanner in the works. Germany is reportedly pressuring the European Central Bank not to allow any emergency funding for Athens. Well, for more insight on Greece's economic prospects, let's cross live to Steen Jakobsen, who's a chief economist at Saxo Bank. Thank you very much for joining us here on RT International. So Greece has been accused then by Germany of being too vague about what exactly its demands are and what exactly it wants. Is that a fair accusation?
Absolutely. And I find your representation of what's been going on slightly misrepresented, to be honest. The fact is that it was actually Greece who walked away last weekend on the talks, not wanting to sign the document. And you have to remember these two sides is in a battle which has no solution. You and I, Paul, are trained to think there is always a compromise or a deal at the end of the table. But let's line this up. Basically, Syriza is now the anti-establishment vote in Greece, and they are represented and wants to be seen as being anti-establishment, meaning that they cannot do austerity. Germany, on the other hand, but not only Germany, a number of countries in Europe wants them to stand by Greece, that is, the terms already agreed, including Portugal and Spain, by the way, which means that you know, at the end of the day, Germany cannot go back to its vote and ask for more money to be bailed into a country that doesn't want to sign even the legal document which is already embedded in the talks. So no solution is on the table unless someone gives up. The only recent changes we've seen is that the political, at least the newspapers in Greece and a lot of people in the mainstream Greece is actually now turning slightly against Syriza and arguing that they need to take what's on the table right now, take that and use it to a leverage in terms of getting a longer-term deal. So I think, you know, the compromise that potentially is at the end of the rainbow here is that Syriza has to give in slightly, whatever the political ramification is at home. But clearly, this is a situation that even after this weekend or next month, to my mind, remains unresolved, because the elephant in the room remains that Greece is not able to actually pay back the money, and Europe is not willing to take the loss. And that's where we stand today, to be honest, in my opinion.
Well, let's take the worst case scenario then. Let's say we've got two immovable objects. Neither of them are going to blink first. What happens if there's no deal by the end of this month?
Well, the new Greek finance minister is a game theory specialist, and if you have no move for both, everyone loses, which would dictate that there is a solution. But the problem is that the win-win or the mini-max solution to this is also bad. I think whatever happens, I'm not really too concerned. First of all, Greece, this may sound harsh, but Greece has zero impact on the European economy. It has zero impact politically on Europe as well, except for the Syriza anti-establishment political wave, which has started. But internally in Greece, they certainly need, and there is a need, let's stress this, there's a humanitarian need. There is an absolute need for Greece to move the agenda forward. The last thing they're going to be able to is move the agenda forward by leaving the euro or leaving the EU, which I think something like 60% of the voters in polls is saying they want to stay in Europe. But I think at the end of the day, Greece will leave. It will be a so-called Grexit. I think it will be good for Greece. I think it will be good for Europe, because it will mean that someone takes a loss. And as a simple economist, the true thing that needs to be dealt with here is someone needs to take on loss on the inability of Greece to do something. It will create short-term volatility in the marketplace, but at the end of the day, this is the beginning of something better, both for Greece and for Europe.
OK, Steen Jakobsen, Chief Economist at Saxo Bank, thank you very much for joining us here on RT International.